The scene this evening is set in New Sarum's wonderful historic district, just shy of the edge of the peninsula, overlooking the bay. Stefan sits in the second floor room of the opera house. I got an interesting message from Mortimer. Apparently something had come up, something of vital importance. Wasn't made clear what it is. Seeing that text, Stefan gathered up whatever he could find around the opera house, even going so far as to breaking what little furniture there was to use as door braces. And contemplates his next move.
Axel is walking about. It's been a bad couple of nights. It hasn't been actually that rough, all things considered. Just walking around, standard patch-up jobs. So, eventually he ends up making a call. Currently on the outside of St. Christina's. He ends up dialing Stefan. And allows the phone to ring.
Christ. 4 or 5 rings. Hello?
Hey, Stefan. Got some bad news. I haven't managed to track down Zachary yet. I'm following a lead, but...
I actually had a quite fortuitous run-in with Zachary earlier this evening in the industrial district.
Have you?
Just a little bit after I picked up a paycheck from work.
Well, things are just coming up Stefan then, aren't they?
I took care of some social loose ends and delivered the message myself, but apparently Mortimer had something extremely vital come up. He did not say what it was, but that's... he may have to go even lower than he was laying before.
Let me guess, some of the blues are still tracking him?
Not sure.
Fuck. Alright. I was hoping to end up gaining a chance to actually sit with you and discuss some financial matters that we were otherwise unable to do so when gathering together in a large formal meeting. Maybe the library wasn't the best idea. Got any place private we can meet? I'm over in the historical outside St. Christina's.
Stay... Interesting.
What's that?
The opera house. There's a side door on the left-hand side of the building. Come to that, knock 3 times.
3 times. Alright. I will be there in 15.
Sounds good.
Alright. See you soon.
Axel, do you have aspects?
Only level 1.
Okay, never mind then. Continue.
Alright. Axel continues to walk down the street, and he's Takes him some time. Might be able to end up making it a little bit quicker, but seems a little bit distracted, preoccupied. On occasion, it looks like he's swerving around people. But eventually he gets to a door, side of the opera house.
It takes a few moments, as it's a rather large building. Soon after, or maybe about 5 minutes after knocking, after that third knock, you hear a latch in the door kind of click loudly. Probably needs oil repair, things like that. And the door opens.
That's an additional $5. Axel steps inside and kind of looks about.
The inside is very dark on the bottom floor because there's no light.
All right.
Once Axel is completely moved past the door, maybe 5-10 feet inward, then the door will start to close.
Oh, it's good to see you, Stefan.
Stefan, are you looking outside at all?
Briefly when the door's closing, yeah.
What's your aspects rating?
2.
Roll wits awareness, please. DC 7.
What's... Oh, cooperate with me, Mr. Hangouts. Come on. Come on, Mr. Cursor. Okay, wits awareness. Okay. Oh, 1 too many.
While Axel and Stefan seem to be at the Opera House, Mutt has been at Lacey's place. Staying there has made him somewhat not as tired as he has been. The feeling of some security has provided him with that. He got a text from Mortimer saying things came up and he wants him to go in his stead or some reason or another. Getting out of Lacey's place, Mutt takes her car, and from what information that he knows, I believe the Opera House is to be the place where it's supposed to be. I'm assuming? Yes? No?
Out of character, yes.
Well, it takes him a while. It seems that even though it's a Sunday night, there's people out and about, workers still getting out of work, people heading into work for the late night shifts. So it takes him about, from Lacey's place there, about an hour and a half or so, I believe, till he gets to the Opera House.
Okay. That's 2 successes on that wits awareness.
Okay, as you let Axel into the building, and you look out, you see some sort of figure. You're not sure who it is. Oh, they're wearing red maybe or something, and you just kind of see them maybe as if they were peeking out behind a tree, and they like kind of switch quickly, like hide behind it again.
Hide back behind it?
Mm-hmm.
When I see that, I'm just going to briefly turn back to Axel and just kind of hold my hand up. And, see, so the person looks like the figure looks like they go back behind an object?
Yeah, it just kind of looks like someone was peeking behind a tree and then it's just kind of darted right back behind it.
I'm going to notch the door closed just enough to where, because Axel's straight in, so just so he, to where he won't be able to see, or something like that. And I'm going to attempt to attempt to hide from the minds of anyone around, and by appearing to blend into the shadows, to be able to head in that direction.
What level of obfuscator do you have?
2.
Okay.
So that's a wits, a stealth.
Okay. Roll that.
Okay.
I'm just doing a contested roll here to see, you know.
Difficulty 7.
You're fine. You're fine. Okay. All right. So yeah, you're hidden. You're fine. No one sees you.
Okay. And
except for if Axel's watching you, obviously he sees you, but no one else does.
yeah.
I think Axel would know at least what Stefan's onto for whatever reason. He doesn't know why, but he knows that, Stefan just suddenly walked off, and even in this darkness, he has a hard time seeing him. Axel steps a little further in, and just takes a moment to look around, like as if something's not quite right. He's looking inside the opera house.
The side door to the opera house is notched open about a foot and a quarter, give or take.
Okay, so what's going on is you're hiding. You left the door open.
Yeah, and I'm.
What is Axel doing?
Axel's stepping a little further in. Not really sure what the heck Stefan suddenly got paranoid about, but he felt the need to suddenly go into a little bit of hiding, so Axel's looking around like something might be in the opera house.
Right. Okay, so this is going to get kind of complicated. Stefan, who won the contested role for Auspex while also being obfuscated, kind of stands where he is off to the side so no one can see him. Axel, on the other hand, sees nothing, really. However, when while you stay stationary, Stefan, a hand kind of does reach to the door and slightly pushes it open a little bit. And it doesn't look, it looks like a human hand, you know, it's not like some creature of the night. It looks like a human hand. And you kind of see someone kind of peek in. I don't know what direction you're looking at, but as they kind of peek in, you can see almost like a head start coming through, and you see what looks like a red-headed girl just kind of peeking in and looking around, and she's looking at Axel for whatever reason.
Does she look? I believe I actually have seen her. At least.
Yeah, you probably have.
Yeah. Does she look familiar? Like.
Yes, she does look familiar. She's not. Well, yeah, you saw her at a diner, probably. Yeah.
Or someone similar, anyway.
Yes.
I didn't actually catch a face.
Yes.
I'm going to very
Keep in mind, Axel doesn't see this because we all got different contestants on our obfuscated aspects rolls.
Yeah, I'm going to very gingerly step behind the figure, keeping at least 3 steps behind her.
Okay. What is Axel doing?
Axel's actually, it's clear that Stefan has a game to play, and since Axel's not aware of it, he's not going to try and play up to it. Instead, he's going to just take a quick moment to make an appraisal of the opera house. He's trying to calculate something.
Okay. As you kind of turn around, again, I don't think anyone else is here besides Stefan, whom this person does not know is here. So she kind of just steps in behind you before she just kind of goes, Axel.
He kind of turns, looking.
Oh, wrong one. That's the real me.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, it's not working. Why? All right. Anyway, you turn around, you automatically recognize this person. This is Mercy. And for whatever reason, my lower third's not working, so...
It looks like because you loaded it in as the picture
Did
for
I?
the basic one
How
rather
in the
than the
world did
overlay.
I do that? Oh, that's why. Man, I'm really tired today.
It's okay.
I can't even use
There.
my overlay. Anyway, continue while we work on this.
Mhm.
Axel kind of looks at her. Mercy?
What are you doing here?
I can ask you that same question.
Following you?
Axel seems almost...
You were at the church and just you left and well, you probably didn't see me. I was hiding, but then I followed you here. I thought it was weird. What's going on?
I have some business to discuss with family. Mostly, I'm just... Axel actually seems a little relieved. He's just always looked at Mercy as like the innocent one, as it were. Wishes he could have spent more time with her.
Which family? Who?
At that moment, the door very gingerly, very carefully, not so as not trying not to startle, closes. He was meeting with me.
She just kind of turns around suddenly, and the moment she sees you, she backs away. Oh, okay.
Stefan
And then she really
Braunfiedler.
doesn't say anything else. She doesn't want to say anything.
That's alright, Mercy. We're all here. It's all family. I'm here to end up discussing a few matters that Mr. Braunfiedler ended up orchestrating, and he ended up asking me to look into a few things, and I figured I would, just to help out family.
She just kind of looks at Stefan and says nothing.
Is everything alright, Mercy?
He's not family. He's an outsider.
Yes.
Oh. I can understand that. Point has been made apparent, but I think you have to understand, Mercy, that's these past couple of months, it's been hard to get a hold of real close family, you know. I mean, ever since, trying to end up getting a hold of the Primogen over trivial matters is just not practical, nor is it well invited. And, well, you know how Teresa can get. So,
Have you seen Teresa? She's
once or twice.
answer her phone lately, like today.
She must be busy. Is that... Are you... Well, what were you doing at the church, if you don't mind me asking, Mercy? I mean, clearly probably wasn't waiting on me.
No, I was looking for Teresa, maybe Gideon, I don't know. But I couldn't find them, so I started looking for the rat in the wall. He's not very noisy anymore. I think maybe Mr. Rodrigo got him.
Sorry to hear that.
Rodrigo. That name is slightly familiar.
What?
The father.
Oh, yes, the priest.
Father Rodrigo's
That's
there
right.
all the time.
I actually was very concerned when I haven't been able to get a hold of Gideon. I mean, I only ended up seeing... Well, I've only ended up seeing Cooter recently, and Seth seems to have wandered off. Holiday seems to be doing his own thing. I don't think he particularly enjoys coming to church. So, it feels kind of like a bit isolated. Stefan here, on the other hand, has been quite helpful.
He is a hound.
Yeah, he is. That's why I'm trying not to do anything less than be patient. It's the only thing I can do. It's the only thing any of us can do, right?
I guess.
He kind of places a hand on Mercy for a second. Just kind of looks at Stefan.
She doesn't do anything.
I do apologize if I startled you, miss. It was a good game of cat and mouse. You are quite skilled.
Oh, better than I am.
We all have our own individual unique talents.
Yeah, when mine are useful, I'll let you know.
Interesting.
But
So,
what I was actually... Go ahead.
No. Aaron thought.
So I was actually wondering... Mercy, what have you been doing these past few nights? I mean, I usually only hear the bad things. I'd like something refreshing.
She seems reluctant really to talk in front of you, or in front of Stefan, so she's like, not much.
I'm going to... Is that fairly obvious, or would I
Yeah, it's
need
pretty
to...
obvious.
I could leave if that would make you feel better.
Stefan, is actually... It might be best if I end up taking her elsewhere. Would that be okay?
Please.
Mercy, if you'd follow me, please.
Okay.
Axel knows the layout of this building, I believe. So he will take her to the second floor.
Okay, she'll just follow you.
As you get up to the top of the second floor, you see, more or less in the center of the floor, it'll be on your left-hand side. There's a set of double doors that are open, and there's it's not one large table. It's more like a few little tables kind of put together, round tables. There are about a dozen candles spread throughout here to give light, and it appears to be a balcony overlooking the stage.
Okay. Meanwhile, anyway, Mercy just kind of looks around the room a bit, trying to see if she sees anybody. Before she kind of turns to Axel, what did you want to talk about?
Well, you ended up saying that... I think earlier on you made a point of asking me not to get in too deep. And right now, not gonna lie, I think I might have bit off more than I can chew. I've been trying to get a hold of Gideon. I've been trying to get a hold of anybody who actually has a certain degree of authority, just to make sure that things don't end up boiling over any further than they are. And unfortunately,
Like what things?
neonates causing trouble left, right, and center. Nothing new, but still something to keep an eye on, right? I mean, I wouldn't be Gideon's child if I didn't do this kind of bit. And I'm fairly certain this is new information to Mercy.
What's been going on?
Well, outside of apparently a neonate has a bit of cell phone footage of another pair of neonates squabbling in open moonlight. A issue between, well, Mortimer the Brujah and Zachary the time bites his lip enough to actually make it bleed with Ventrue.
Is the squabbling in front of regular people?
It was enough to end up scaring the hell out of a few people. Zachary seemed to have caught the brunt of it, but suffice it to say, Mortimer made quite the scene. And it was through Zachary's provocation. So, at this point...
Oh, I remember Teresa talking about that. I don't know. He should probably, like, go, or maybe, like, fake his own death if authorities are still looking for him.
Well, I made it very clear to Mr. Zachary Volatair that when it comes down to these matters, it doesn't matter if you clean up your side of the mess. The entire mess needs to be cleaned up, and quite frankly, no one cares who it is that ends up getting cleaned up so long as it's cleaned up. He can take advantage of the situation if he wants. That's not my concern. My concern is to make sure that it's done. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Volatair probably has better contacts to be able to do that than I do.
What needs to be cleaned up? I haven't seen it on the news over and over again. I just saw about an attack. I don't even remember when I saw it. But other than that, it's not in the news. I don't even know what this guy looks like, so that's a good thing.
You okay, Mercy?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little paranoid. But these little mistakes keep happening, and they're not going away anytime soon.
No. But you don't really know the definition of paranoid. That's fine.
You're right.
Hearing some movement outside, kind of pokes his ear around. Is Mutt? Is he on the street, like
Yeah, he's
in the alleyway, or?
Yeah, he's by Lacey's car. There's a fucking dog giving him trouble. He's like, shoot, get out of here. But this dog apparently is very friendly and wants to play, and he's like, no, I don't want to play. Go away. Go home. You got a collar. Go home.
Stefan attempts in a very quick move to, in a subtle move. He steps out the door, trying to keep the creaking to an absolute minimum, and attempts to use illusion and shadow to keep himself hidden, and just kind of sticks out the situation.
Go home, fucking mutt. Get out of here. Shoot.
That does not exist. That first one does not exist. Yeah, okay, one success. Right. And he will be using obfuscate too, as he kind of moves toward the street side a little bit. Not enough to step into any streetlights. And just kind of
Natalia and Zach approach the opera house. There, and they look at each other, and Natalia just goes, "Well, good luck in there. I'm just gonna stay outside. Alright. Or should I come with you?
Your choice.
Well, if it's allowed, well, the worst thing that can happen is they throw me out, right? No, she just shrugs a moment, and finishes a cigarette and walks in with Zach.
Mutt finally gets the dog to go away, and certainly took it a while, but it scampers off somewhere else, probably to go bark at other people. He finishes up his smoke, throws it on the street, and proceeds to walk to the opera house. I'm assuming behind Mr. Volatair and Miss Malenko.
And you're heading down the alleyway?
Yes.
After Mutt gets into the alleyway, you'll hear a behind you.
I'm assuming I should roll for this perception, perhaps?
Nope.
No? Very
Nope.
blatant.
No, he's just standing there behind us.
I just busted the obvious way
Right.
with that. Gentleman, lady. God, it is always something that comes up in complication, as always, to my dismay. Unfortunately, the proceedings are going to have to take place at a later date. I received a text from Mortimer that something quite distressing has come up.
Yeah.
Face contorts into something of utter fury and betrayal for like 3 different reasons. So, what you're telling me is that an escalator conflict your family was not involved in. Set up a meeting that you tell me nothing about. And then when push comes to shove, the man I'm supposed to face didn't even bother.
You're not the only one, Mr. Volatair, that is distressed and upset in this matter. Yes, it is true that neither me nor any of mine were directly involved in any of these events, and that is why I specifically told you that it would be acted as neutral parties.
You told me nothing, and then you drop it. And
It was
hour
supposed to-
before it's supposed to begin.
It was supposed to be just a simple mediation, a basic peace, to be able to keep any conflicts from escalating.
Well, you fucked that up, haven't you?
No, I have not fucked up. Let me so eloquently put it.
It's supposed to put an end to things, and you can't even get on it. How? If the man who's hiding in the fucking shadows doesn't take this seriously, why should I?
That is entirely your prerogative. And as I have
Apparently it was
stated,
Mortimer's. Because he didn't show. You said
No.
to Miss Goodchild was here?
I have not seen this good child yet.
For fuck's sake.
That is the other unfortunate thing. So, unless you would like to escalate something else,
No, shut the fuck up, kid.
I would advise Mr. Volatair, if you adjust your attitude and step down.
Show me some fucking results first.
At this point,
And then I might
I
give
have
a damn.
box in between the two of them. Just before we all start to lose our minds in earnest, might I have a moment to talk, shall we say, across the bow, or whatever it's called?
Of course, Miss Belenko.
Well, and she looks back at Zach. This man was put quite close to final death. And it does complicate the matters, and I assure you, he is normally I know him, he is very collected, very measured, but a traumatic experience like that and complications with whatever dealings they had before does put a strain on one's mind. I have not tried this, well, been in the situation myself, but I can understand. But at the same time, these unfortunate accidents, I am sure, as your wishes are genuine for a mediation between the two parts, is not of your doing, Stefan. I see that.
I can
You both
understand that Mr. Volatair is under a great deal of mental stress. I can also assure you that when it comes down to mental stress, no amount of near-final death can ever prepare him for what I myself deal with on a nightly basis.
But can you get results?
I get results. I've gotten results in quite many other matters. Quite well, thank you very much. And I am not looking to create anything between myself and yourself at this moment. As for examples, I also believe in professionalism and confidentiality. Two traits that are incredibly important.
Does that equate to keeping me in the dark about this whole thing for a month and then trying to rush me there in the last hour?
It was not my intention to deceive you in any way. That I can also assure you of.
Then why not contact me sooner?
I have been trying to gather as much information post-original meeting with you and arrange this with quite a few other parties. Unfortunately, some of these parties are not so easily reached. It was a stretch to do so. And quite frankly, I could have just as easily washed my hands of it and said to hell with you and the Brujah and not given two shits whether you tear each other apart or burn the city to the ground. I stuck my neck out. I stuck my reputation out in order to try to get you children to shut up and cooperate and stop thinking that the only solution
Oh, screw
is
you.
to
You
kill
have
each
an
other.
agenda. Don't fucking think you can play me.
I have an agenda. Oh, of course, I have an agenda. Let me guess. Is it the agenda that involves some kind of fictional takeover in your demented mind from New York City? No. There is no
What
agenda.
are you even on about?
I would ask you the same thing. You think that everyone is hiding behind the shadows, around the corners, around the trees. You think that everyone is out to get you.
No,
That
I
is
think
not
you're
the
out for
case.
yourself.
What would I have to gain?
A lot.
Really? Why don't you give me an example of what I would have to gain? Because technically speaking, Mortimer's a dead man.
And yes, you're giving him a chance to defend himself in a situation where you would be held as the problem solver, getting you a reputation and opening up a power play.
Well, then allow me to provide a solution to this issue. Unfortunately, we are going to need a Brujah representative who is
You already
quite
got
aware.
one. He's right here.
Thank you, Mutt. It's very difficult for Stefan, and he doesn't really do a very good job of hiding his facial expression. But thank you. With a Brujah representative who has been made aware of the situation, and I believe he has met with Mortimer himself, as I have. I believe maybe we can.
For reaching him
Come
was a
to
stretch.
some resolution. It is a stretch. Quite a stretch.
You know where he is.
Now, I believe, so that our elevated voices do not arouse any suspicion, we should step inside, please. It is dark, but it is safe. And Stefan goes over to the door, opens it up, walks inside, and then, in view, holds the door open.
I guess we go back to us.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, Andrea.
No, don't be. That
That's
was
fine.
awesome.
Whatever.
So much
I
drama.
don't even
Right?
So
know
intense.
where we left.
You're right. I don't know anything compared to some about paranoia, Mercy. I lucked out in that regard. But I gotta do something. If I don't, I'm not upholding my responsibility. I'm not pulling my weight in this family.
I don't think that.
Um,
Sorry. So these two people are fighting, and you feel we have to step in.
Look, Mercy, maybe this is a stretch, but have you ever done any bar hopping when you were
No.
young? No. Okay, let me tell you how it usually works. When a bunch of people are in an atmosphere where they feel like they can be a little looser, where they can start being a little bit more open, eventually somebody says something that bugs another, or maybe they do something that bugs another, which is fine. They could let bygones be bygones, but you got to keep an eye on them. That's what I used to do for a living. And what happens is that it can either escalate, in which case it starts wrecking shop. People start throwing around bar stools, breaking pool cues, doing whatever. You don't stop it when that happens, is then things get really bad. You stop it before the swinging starts. That's how you end up going about it. And when I end up watching one that almost got torn apart, they are definitely ready to swing, and the next time, one of them ain't walking out of it. That wouldn't be a problem if that mess didn't have the potential to become a breaking of the first tradition. So with the interest of holding that tradition,
I still think it's kind of stupid.
yeah, well, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, Mercy. I know that. I ain't Gideon. I sure as hell ain't Celine. I'm nobody. Made that absolutely clear. And I could be tossed into the sun tomorrow and no one would give a shit. But while I'm here, I gotta do what I can.
I think they would care, but that's. I feel like this is the Ventrue and the Brujah's problem, honestly.
Yeah.
But if you insist on getting involved, I can't stop you.
I would like to wash my hands of it, truthfully.
Oh, then do it. You're better off.
I'd be better off, but as a whole, we wouldn't be. You know the old poem that ends with, "Don't ask for whom the bell tolls." If a serf is washed away, Europe is the less. That's very much what I believe.
I guess. Anyway, I was just following you to see what was going on. I don't even know how he got into this building. And I'm looking for Teresa.
You want me to look for her?
If you see her first, I was looking for Marcello. Do you know Marcello?
Marcello. Name's not ringing a bell right now. Why?
I haven't seen him a lot, but I know he's one of Teresa's one of Teresa's you know child or anyway, I guess she hadn't seen him in a while, and so I went to check on him, but he wasn't there.
Where do you want me to start looking?
Well, I already looked. He's not there. It's just a trashed apartment. Doesn't clean up very well. If you just see her first, just tell her that's what I saw. That would be enough. You don't
I'll
need
take care of it, Mercy.
to look. That's really it. Nothing
Mercy,
interesting. What?
look at me.
Hmm?
I'll take care of it. That's what I do. I take care of things.
Well, that's fine. It's not a big deal. If I see her first, I'll let you know.
I wish we could talk more openly, but you kind of hear the door at this point. It sounds like business is about to start.
Now,
Okay.
gentlemen, lady, allow me to clear my head a little bit. The issue at hand is not whether or not the first tradition was broken. That much is obvious. Whether it was one party or both parties. Now, there has not been anything in the newspaper, nor has there been anything on the radio news about any kind of strange findings at the hospital, given Mr. Volatair's extremely critical condition, for which I am most grateful that he is completely recovered. That pleases me. Now, Mutt, the issue here with your clan is that Mortimer almost committed a grievous act of destroying another. Now, this would not normally be an extreme issue, except for the fact that Mr. Volatair himself informed me that some years back there was, and Stefan looks to Mr. Volatair for after-the-fact confirmation, more or less, open war?
Yes. The war ended a few years ago.
Okay.
There is the sound of footsteps coming downstairs. I believe you are referring to the sixth tradition, Stefan.
Yes, I
Which
am,
would
actually.
make it an issue.
Yes, I am. Luckily, that sixth tradition was not broken, but it was done in the middle of time. Now, under normal circumstances, according to Camarilla law, the offender would be put to death for such a breach. However, in this situation, it would do no good to do so, because at this point, the Brujah would feel extremely slighted. Not, I am assuming that you are here because Lacey is not.
No. She is gone right now.
That is all I need to know. I have dealt with enough Brujah matters to wash my hands of any more details than that. So, do you act in her stead?
Yes.
And on what authority does she speak?
She is whip. Thus, I am whip by proxy.
Okay.
Huh. Yeah, seems like she'd be the sort
You sound surprised, Volatair.
Oh, not at all. She's got her head on straight better than any of you.
That
Makes sense that she'd be the first choice.
Now, if Mortimer were killed for such an infraction, the Brujah would feel slighted. The Primogen would have to know, I know for a fact, that Mr. Parkins would not like to be kept in the dark about any of his brood being taken out. And that could lead to a second resurgence in open fighting in the streets. And what do you think that would create? More breaches of the first tradition. More masquerade violations. And then all of us are in trouble here.
Well, we get the point, but what's the response?
The other issue, Mr. Volatair, is that you are claiming that you are in the right because Mortimer lost his temper. I am quite aware of this, and I am not using that as an excuse. My point here is that if you can get away with this, Mortimer suffers harsh punishment, and this creates any issues whatsoever. What is to stop anybody, any other kindred in the city from using a weakness against another to cause such a violation?
Are you
That
saying
is
I
why
provoked for conflict?
I am saying that it takes two parties, and given the amount of stress that Mr. Wilford was under, at the time that you were doing whatever you were, whatever the business dealing was, provoked his anger even more, given that he was so furious with his mortal brother.
He wasn't furious, he was frenzying.
He wasn't
He
frenzied
continued
until
to
you met with him. He was furious before that day. Probably for years. Sibling rivalries tend to do this.
Well, yes, but I don't see how that plays into it. That would be his brother provoking the conflict, not me.
What would happen, Mr. Volatair? How slighted would you feel if I were to go into wherever you hunt and cut off every source of food? Would that not be me preying on your weakness to provoke a response?
Well, you're saying you're attacking my hunting ground. I don't really see point. That doesn't the analogy doesn't correlate with this reality.
This analogy is at the heart of the matter. I am not accusing, I am plainly stating that you willingly used Mortimer's weakness as a Brujah to provoke a response which which very plainly, probably inadvertently for you at this time, because who would want to be nearly killed? You would have to be a madman.
You're stating I provoked the conflict, but you're saying it's not an accusation. That's literally a contradiction.
That is a statement.
Well, then that doesn't make it valid. I mean, you're plainly accusing at this point. If we're going to accuse each other of certain actions, then surely there should be evidence to back said things up.
Gentlemen,
I'm
if I
already
may.
done playing the blame game.
Well, you're done. However, the rest of us, let's get right to the heart of the matter. At this point, Mr. Braunfiedler does not wish for the conflict to continue to escalate. Is this correct? This is fact, correct?
This is a fact.
Okay. Mr. Volatair, you were viciously attacked. You can see he bites his lip. And had to end up expending quite a bit of resources in order to make sure that things stayed on the up and up, that the first tradition remained intact. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Mutt, you speak on behalf of the Brujah, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, would it be correct to say that the Brujah would consider the forceful nature upon him which Mr. Hip Wilford is currently undergoing as a slight from Mr. Volatair? Regardless of the facts at this point, that is the perception of it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Volatair, you and me have had a discussion, and I will end up here stating this plainly. You have, earlier on, and I trust your position has not changed on this matter, said that you will take it as a point to end up here covering up this, get the police off of Mortimer, to allow this to just be swept into the tides of history as white noise. And at that point, Mortimer should be free of police pursuit. He will end up losing his company. And at that point, Mortimer owes a debt to Mr. Volatair. However, this is under the assumption that everything continues business as normal. The pursuit of Mortimer's being will no longer be an issue. He will be free to end up entering the streets, and he will not be permitted to pursue the matter. He will be watched by the Brujah. He kind of looks to Mutt. It seems like an accusing look, but more of a point of trying to make sure everything's on the level. At this point, has anything I
Let's wait till we
stated...
get Axel. But he's gonna put his eyes, gonna look right back at Mr. Volatair.
Alright. Mr. Volatair, so far, has your opinion changed in any of this?
No.
Alright. Now, the act is not done yet because Mortimer is still being pursued by police. So, the question does not become whose fault it is at this point in order to aid all parties. The question is how do we end up stopping what has already happened from escalating? We've taken the first steps to that. The next step is how do we end up taking it off? Records can change, public records can change, and quite frankly, I don't think anybody remembers the name of the kid who ended up shooting up Columbine, so if we end up making it a point of letting it fall into obscured history, history will do the job for us. Natalia.
She looks up.
I'm assuming you're here because you are a information specialist. Would you be kind enough to roll a empathy plus perception?
Mwah, mwah, mwah. What?
Okay.
No. Is it a fail or a
Oh
botch?
Lord!
I believe that's the
Okay.
botch, because that is no successes, so...
Well, what is the DC? If the DC is 7, then it's a fail. But
Oh, you got a 7?
yeah, I got a 7 and 3 ones.
Okay,
So it's
sorry.
not a
I'm
bad.
Then it's a fail. Then it's a fail, I think.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you're
do manipulation and empathy.
What are you trying to do?
It's an encoded message, but clearly that message not going to be received.
That's failed too.
Yeah.
Everyone failed. You all fail at life.
That's it. But if I understand this correctly, you have particular talents that may be of aid in helping Mr. Volatair to this end, correct?
That is true.
Alright, so if that is the case, whatever reward Mr. Volatair is receiving on behalf of Mortimer, which Mortimer will end up paying the blood boon to, he looks to Mutt to see if he agrees that that is appropriate.
That's fine, as long as it keeps Mortimer alive, then that is fine. I will tell him personally this.
Alright.
And I will
Now,
discipline him if he does not agree with me on this.
I want someone watching him for at least the next 3 months. He is not to pursue Mr. Volatair in any capacity as a point of trust.
In fact, Axel, I believe since it was me that allowed this to continue in Mortimer's absence, that I owe it to him to tell him myself, despite the dangers of going into the projects.
Very well, then. Mr. Volatair, with the no ego stated in it, what do you need to get this done as soon as possible?
I need to go through the sister to stop the business from sending police after Mortimer Wilford. To be honest, that's an issue. That's something I can actually deal with my own with relative ease. The main issue is
With experience.
the brother has been out of the city for some time. I can't reach him. I've been trying to, but he seems to be off the radar for the moment.
Do you have any idea of where he fled?
Well, if I can't contact him, then it's certainly out of country. I suspect something, but it's a loose lead at best. I can try and follow up on it,
Very well.
but I can't guarantee that's where he'll be.
Get the sister, because she's family, to end up calling it off. Get everything here set up and get this done as soon as possible. Does this appease all parties involved?
That's fine.
He looks to Volatair.
I accept the terms and conditions.
Very well then. Are there any further questions to...
I have one for Mr. Volatair. Mr. Volatair, will you give me your word, your honest word, and we will shake on it, that you personally will not send any more agitation to Mortimer? I want your word. Even though this is taken care of, I know how things can be. Revenge is a dish best served cold, as some would say. I want your word that you're not going to do that. And I am assuming, Mr. Volatair, that you are a man of your word, and you would not dare break it. And I am giving you my word that I will not let Mortimer go anywhere near you or his business. If he does, then I will handle him myself.
I appreciate that, and I do give you my word that I will not agitate Mortimer. You can hold
And
me
let
to
us
that.
check on it then, as men. And everyone here is the witness to this.
Of course. So just
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, just nice handshake.
Mm,
Nothing. No, not even an aggressive grip. It's a firm, but it's not a
It's a
firm.
business check.
It's a
handshake.
business
business
handshake.
handshakes.
Yes.
Very well then. Mr. Volatair, it would seem that your evening is going to be spent trying to complete your end of the contract. I am going to assume that you're going to be kind enough to keep the parties involved here informed as to keep us updated as to when Mortimer is free to begin wandering the streets again.
I'll keep you up to date.
Very well, please don't hesitate. Mutt,
Yes.
I
Excellent.
trust you will be going to find Mr. Mortimer and the rest of your clan. I want you to inform them what happened today and make sure that no more slip-ups happen. At this point, the Brujah are slipping, and it's time to take a firm hand to rein them in. I think you'll agree.
Yes.
And he just kind of walks over to Mutt and he extends a hand.
He takes it.
As he does, Axel pulls him in almost like a brotherly hug and pats him on the back. And when he does so, he whispers into Mutt's ear, "You owe Stefan Braunfiedler." All right then, gentlemen. Madam, I believe that concludes our business. Natalia, are you rolling to see if you heard what Axel said?
Yeah, and I did.
You did? Okay.
Well, if the DC or if the difficulty is 8, then I heard it.
All right. Not a problem. Okay. And Natalia ends up hearing that whisper, something about owing. And Axel starts walking towards the door and opens it, looking almost expectantly at everyone.
Stefan just walks near the door, standing inside, watching as everyone exits.
What will be first?
He
Walks
nods at
outside.
Mutt as he walks out. Slight smile on his face.
Mutt will walk to Lacey's car and wait there. Let the wind or whatever kind of feeling of the night is on his skin, though he can't really feel anything.
He looks to Natalia and Mr. Volatair. Try not to spill any blood in the streets tonight. I'd like to have one night where I can at least rest easy.
Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on him. She smiles. She cracks a smile at Axel.
Axel actually smiles back.
I'll
at
make him
Natalia.
calm down somehow. I don't know. We'll take, a Paris wheel or something. I don't know. I'll find something.
That'd be good.
And she more or less follows Zach out the door.
Yeah. Zach, as he goes to leave, he says, "Good evening, Axel, and thanks for your assistance in this. I appreciate
Mr.
it."
Volatair. And as they walk out the door, he actually closes it before Stefan can even consider walking out and just looks to him, smiles.
When Zachary clearly steps out the door, Stefan grabs a hold of it and slams it shut, right at his back.
Zach more or less assumes that was Stefan.
It was the ghost.
He looks to Mercy for a second, and who seems to be gone completely unnoticed at the bottom of the stairs, observing.
Why do I ever bother with these ignorance?
Stefan, look at me. You came out on top. You won. The Brujah whip proxy is indebted to you.
Then I will put that to use that is not my own. I cannot use anything I did not earn.
You did. This was your grand design.
Then this is probably why any architect feels empty and hollow inside when they see something arise.
I wouldn't think so. I would think that it would be a point of pride. You just need to have someone who can drive the last nail in, that's all.
There
You
is
did.
one other thing that does concern me, with the amount of other kindred poking their nose around into things.
Kind of looks curious.
The events of the last meeting. What our general said.
That,
Let's just hope that none of the other assembled parties start poking their nose into that room.
well, we'll just have to keep it all in the family, won't we? He kind of looks to Mercy for a second and kind of walks up. Told you I was useless.
Yeah, you're totally useless. That's okay. Do you think they noticed me?
I hope not.
No, I can assure you, Mercy, they did not notice you.
Good.
I do, however, apologize that you had to hear all of that.
She just shrugs, and she kind of looks at Axel. I'm gonna keep looking for Marcelo now. And then she just kind of...
I will try and pass along the message.
Thank you. And then she just kind of heads out the door, not really saying anything else. What?
Never mind, just an errant thought.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. He actually opens the door for her as she exits out.
Cool beans.
Stefan heads back up the stairs, probably towards the middle room. Walks in, takes a look, and going around the room in a clockwise fashion, around the walls and the table, starts blowing candles out.
Axel has followed him and is currently standing in the doorframe. He doesn't say anything, just watching Stefan go from one candle to the other, stuffing the life out of them with a single breath.
When the last just before the last candle is extinguished, he just takes a look at it and around the room. As expensive as it would be to renovate this, it would be worth it.
I think it would. I think I got an idea.
The last candle's extinguished, and he begins heading down the hallway, back down the stairs to the side door, taking out a small multi-tool from his pocket, letting Axel exit first and following behind him, and when before he closes the door, he takes what looks like a screwdriver on the multi-tool, plugs it into a hole, and kind of ratchets it in, and pulls it shut with both arms until he hears a satisfying click. Removing the tool, placing it back into his pocket as he folds the screwdriver. I believe I'm going to head home this evening and get much needed rest.
I'll walk